Hey there. Welcome to the Breakthrough Creative, where we talk about the business of art and the art of business. I am your host, John McDavitt. I've been a professional creative for over 30 years. Get out of town. I can't believe time is going that quickly. And I love artists, and I especially love artists who are entrepreneurial in nature and want to make a living doing what it is that they do creatively. So, without further ado, let's get into our episode. So, last week I had one of my bonus business episodes that focused on managing meetings. I had told you about this meeting that kind of went sideways, not in a bad way, just that it wasn't what I had expected it would be. And as a vendor, as a freelancer, as a subcontractor, I needed to be prepared for that. And I was prepared for it. And I managed the meeting as best I could. And that ended up turning into about a week's worth of work. So it was pretty cool because I walked out not expecting to have a huge project to complete, which meant awesome, I've got work. It meant awesome, there's going to be a good invoice at the end of this whole situation. But it also meant that the work needed to get done. And they were under some real constraints time-wise, which meant I was under heavy restraints time-wise. So the client was going to go in and pitch 5 different stories about how their company could partner with the client company into the future. So it would tell the story of how they could make the client look good, how they could make the client be profitable, and how they could serve the client in a way that was unusual and at the apex of new marketing. So it brought new ideas to light. And so it's pretty fascinating. I can't go into the specifics because it's proprietary and I'd be sued if I shared any of that. But I can discuss the process. So whenever you have a sudden deadline, there are a lot of things to consider. The first of which is the clock is ticking. There are things happening shortly that are dependent upon the work that you have been hired to create for your client. So I needed to get multiple drawings done, sketches really, ideas in sketch form, in front of my client, so those sketches could get feedback from multiple people who had been in the meeting. So there are a lot of different people to satisfy before I can do final art and get that approved, and then do final color and get that approved. And then the trick to this was the meeting was in another city. So I was going to have to send all of this artwork to a printer, and I was going to be working with the printer. So I was going to convey, hey, this is what we need to do. You gotta print such and such at such and such size at such and such DPI and color. I need it prepped this way. All of that info. Now, this is where it all gets interesting, as if that wasn't interesting enough, right? To have to wrangle that horse. There was a death in my client's family, and it was unexpected, so it was sudden, right? And this client of mine was not going to be readily available to me. And so the next thing I need to do, apart from be human and, contact my client and tell them, I'm so sorry for your loss. I don't want anybody to lose anybody. And that's terrible all around. So, it's an opportunity to be human to my client and to care for them and, let them know I wish them well. And now, how can I serve you while you're going through all of this? And the thing that I really needed to find out up front was who is my boss now? Really important. Because if you're not listening to the decision maker, or you don't know who the decision maker is, or somebody else is making decisions that isn't the decision maker, and time is ticking. Think about it. Decision makers often have multiple projects going on. And that means if they have multiple projects going on, they're not necessarily thinking about what you're doing or the minutia of what it is that you're doing. So you need to be communicating with them and letting them know where you're at with progress reports, at least in this situation. That's how I knew I should do it. I should keep them, because it was such short time, I needed to make sure that every second counted, every communication counted, and a bit of feedback that I got was sending me in the right direction. So I found out who my boss was, and then I wasn't getting contacted by that person, and they were a little bit hard to reach. So I had to reach out to my client again, and I let them know the situation. Nobody had done anything terrible or anything like that. It's business. Things happen. People get busy with lots of things, right? So this person told me, look, I'm your boss. I will be in touch with you. Even though I have all this stuff going on in my life, just keep me posted, and I'll let you know what it is you need to do. And when you get to the point where you're sending stuff out, copy me on all the emails. So that's what I did. So I started to storyboard out these 5 different stories. I started with one that I thought would be the easiest. Let me start with this one. And I did no sketches on the others because I don't even know where we're going with this. It is so sight unseen and such an unknown that I need to start somewhere. I need to get some footing on some solid ground. So we went back and forth a couple of times, and we got to a place that we really liked. And this was probably midday, the first day. Clock is ticking, right? And once I got approval on that, I started to sketch out ideas for the remaining 4. So I think I had those remaining 4 done, at least 2 or 3 of them done the rest of that day. And I sent them out, and I got some feedback. And then I sent the 5th one out, 4th and 5th one out the next day. So I'm in this process now where it's all highly conceptual. Client needs something. They go to the store of who we're doing this for. They get what they need. They leave. They're happy. Pretty picture, pretty story wrapped up in a bow. And I got to do 5 stories like that. So we worked through that for a few days. Originally, I think my meeting was on a Wednesday. They were hoping to have everything done on Friday. It was clear we weren't going to have Friday. They were heading out for their meeting on a Tuesday, so they're going to fly into the airport, right, for this meeting out of state, and arrive around 3 or 4 in the afternoon and go pick up the prints. So I needed to have this stuff done Sunday so I could get it to the printer Monday, like no later. So I had this extension. And sometimes that will happen on projects. The client let me know early on. So I don't think you're going to make Friday. I don't think it's fair that we've given this to you and we have more time. Great. One of the tricks I use with clients is I will ask them, hey, so this is your deadline. Everything's due Friday. And if I know them well enough, or if I feel confident in the relationship I'm developing with the client, I may ask them, so your deadline is Friday. Would you mind telling me what your real deadline is? And sometimes they'll come back and say, oh, it's Friday. But more often than not, they've got some wiggle room in there. And the reason why they have wiggle room is think about it. Nobody who's going to their boss to make a presentation that is going to include your artwork, your project, wants to receive it the morning of or minutes before they're going to go share it with their boss. They want to have it in their hands so they know they've got it and they're not worrying about it not coming. And they want to know that it's good. They want to have some time. So I promise my clients that I will show them progress. Now, these are corporate clients. I'm going to show them progress as I go. It's fair, it's good. It lets them not worry about me. And if they don't have to worry about me, oh, I'm making their nightmares go away, right? I had a friend of mine that I was doing work with years ago, and he told the client, or he told the client something like, I'm going to make your nightmares go away. And that's how I feel when I'm serving a client. I want to make their nightmares go away. So if I'm doing that and I'm on top of it and they know I'm on top of it, first off, I'm on top of it going in the right direction. If I send them some progress and it's not going in the right direction, then I'm on top of making the changes. And I often contact my clients before they contact me. So it just looks good. It's like having an extra administrative assistant without paying for it, even though they kind of are paying for it because I'm doing that work. So that makes sense, right? You want to keep the client posted as you're going along because you don't want to surprise anybody. So I have these drawings done to a certain degree and I'm waiting on feedback. We've worked Thursday, we've worked Friday. I'm still finalizing the look of these things on Saturday. I've got feedback. It's right. I keep getting feedback from my client. And finally, it's Saturday night. I don't have anything signed off on, except maybe one. I think maybe I had one, but it's almost as bad as not having any signed off on. So there was nothing I could do. It's out of my hands. I got to get this stuff out on Monday morning. So they print this stuff. And it's now Saturday night. I've got 5 of these to either make changes to or to render. So I went to bed. It's late. There's nothing I could do Saturday night. I woke up Sunday morning and I checked my phone first thing because I, was obviously anxious to hear back from my client. And I had an email and 3 of the 5 had been approved. Awesome. So I got out of bed. I had some other things to tend to. Went and did that, got home, and began to work. So I'm coloring, rendering in Photoshop. Can do it quickly. I'm making sure that I'm doing everything to the right scale and the right size. So scale meaning these things are going to be 4 by 4 feet, and eventually they would be printed out 4 by 4 feet, and then they were having these 4 by 8 foot foam core boards delivered to the conference room where they were going to be making their presentation. And 2 of these 4 by 4 images would go together, one on top of the other, to create this storyboard. So this huge visual. So there are going to be 5 of these 4 by 8 foot foam core boards. Some people call them gator board, but they were going to be black. And these nice presentation boards that they could double stick the prints to. So I get my 3 renderings done. I have a couple of back and forth over, make it this color, this could be a little clearer. So 3 are done. That Sunday evening, I think I had 4 approved. So I rendered that 4th one, sent that out, sent the revisions to 5 out Sunday night. Monday morning, I've got the 5th one approved. So I render that and there's a job added to it. So I have that job added, and now I've been given a printer in this other state. And the printer is not a highly sophisticated printer. It is a popular retail print shop. Okay, this could be interesting. So I call up the print shop and I let the person there know that I've got this big project and I need this stuff printed out. And they're going to be, if there's 5 times 2 is 10, there's going to be 10 4 by 4 foot printouts, full color, glossy. We ran down everything. And they're going to need to be on, the foam core was going to be delivered. So I need double stick tape. There's all the stuff that I need for it. So she tells me that I need to send the files via their corporate FTP, which is just another way to safely transmit files. A lot of companies will use a private FTP because they're able to check for viruses and make sure that nothing, unwanted gets in to damage the company's communication infrastructure. So there you have it. I've called the person. I've got their FTP. They know what's going on. I send everything out, and there's nothing to do except go to bed because I'm waiting on one more bit of information from the client, and it's Monday night. And so now it's Tuesday morning. I wake up and I got an email from a different person at this popular retail printing chain, which, if you understand retail, you know you're not always going to get the same person. Very rarely will you get the same person. And you're hoping that you're going to get somebody who knows their way around whatever it is you want them to do, in this case, around this printer. So the email says he can download my images, but they're half the size that I think they should be. So instead of being 4x4 foot, they're 2x2 foot. I don't know what happened. I saved everything at 4x4 foot. There were these big JPEGs, 300 DPI, massive 50 megabyte files. And so now my blood is pumping because there are people going to be getting on a plane not too long from that moment, and they're going to be landing in this other state, and they're going to be going to this print shop, and these prints need to be done. And so I tell this guy my issue, and he says, yeah, there's no other way to handle it. This is it. And I said, look, I'm going to have to email you these big files. I'm going to have to do it through one of my like a WeTransfer kind of an account. And he says, yeah, I can't open that stuff. You can't open it. Why not? Well, if I get some virus or something, I'm going to get in all kinds of trouble. So I said, look, your FTP doesn't work. I don't know how else to do this. Do you have any other way? And he said, no, I don't know. I just know I can't open it. So then I need to try to persuade this guy to open my files. So I told him, I said, hey, a lot of things sound really good in a boardroom. They sound really good. Let's use an FTP. It'll be great. We'll get this thing set up. Nobody thinks about the problems that you're going to encounter. And we've just encountered this huge problem. I've got 5 clients flying in to your state from where I'm at, and they're expecting this stuff to be printed. So I need for you to open up this WeTransfer email that I'm going to send to you and download these files. I'm not going to have any virus on it. I need to get this done for my client. This is incredibly important. I will stand behind you up to the CEO of the company, praising you if you get into trouble for this. I've got your back. Now, if I was him, would I have downloaded and printed those things out? I don't know. I don't know what I would have done. But my words were persuasive. And so he downloaded them. They were fine. And he printed them out. Meanwhile, I got the 5th piece done. They added a 6th piece to it, which was really simple. But I had to get that done. And meanwhile, they don't know the runaround I've been having with the print shop. They don't know the stress that I've been dealing with for the past several days with the print shop. And you know what? That's fine. Your client doesn't want you to complain to them about stuff that is hard, unless the print shop can't do it at all and you got to find another print shop, or somebody screws something up. I mean, if there's something catastrophic, you need to call your client. But even then, it's not about complaining. It's about problem solving. Hey, here's an issue. The print shop doesn't work. I don't know what to do because I don't know what else is out there. I need to let you know so that we can come up with a plan. If you want me to go search somebody out, I can do that, but you need to give me the go-ahead, right? That would be the way to do it. But you never call your client and go, this is awful. I can't believe this printer did this to me and the printer didn't do this and I don't know what to do and blah, 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 blah. No, you're there to solve problems. You're there to make nightmares go away. So as far as I know, to this very day, my client doesn't even know that I had any issues with the printer or getting the information in front of the printer. So I like it that way. That's the way it should be. And I'm okay with it, because what happened at the end of that workday is my client's people arrived. They picked up the prints. I had also asked the guy, hey, how many rolls of double stick tape do you have? And he said, we got loads of them. I said, put 4 in with them, please. I need 4 rolls of double stick tape because they needed something to adhere these posters to the board with. I would rather do it with a spray adhesive, but these people don't know how to use a spray adhesive. They're not artists or designers. They're engineers and marketing people. And so I need to make it easy for them. So they need double stick tape. So once I had finished everything with the printer and I had been guaranteed by him that everything is sorted out, and then he called me back. He said, everything's printed, looks good. I asked him to take my phone number and to text me some photos of the finished work, which he did. Everything looked good, set my mind at ease. I was then able to send those photos to my client and express that everything's good, we're all set. And I was then told that when everybody picked everything up, they were thrilled. I got photos back from them of these big 4x8 foot boards in the showroom with the sales team in front of them, looking excellent. Oh, so satisfying. So what's the lesson from this one? Well, when a project has a short deadline, you need to have your communication locked in. Whether you have the answers or not, you're going to keep communicating until you have the answers. You got to keep it locked in. You got to keep showing and sharing with your client the work that you're doing and the progress so that you can make sure there are no surprises. Clients don't like surprises. And I don't like to surprise clients because surprises usually aren't good things with a client. And then all the behind the scenes stuff going on that a client doesn't need to know. Have you ever heard that everybody likes a hot dog, but they don't really like to see how it's made? They probably wouldn't eat them if they saw how they were made. It's the same with serving a client. Client doesn't need to see all the minutia or the nitty gritty or the troubles that you've had making their project come to life. They just want to see it served to them on a nice bun so they can put some garland and mustard and tomato on it, not ketchup. Although I put ketchup on my hot dogs. I don't care what anybody says. But do you know what I'm saying? They want it to look nice. They don't want to think about everything that went into that because you don't want to stress them out. They've got enough stresses going on. And then be human. Take care of your client when they have a crisis in their life. Show some empathy, show some care, and show some concern. So that's some insight into managing an emergency, I guess I would call it, project, something that needs to get done. And those projects are awful and wonderful because they're painful in that you're working a lot of hours, you're working hard, you're working without answers, you work up to brick walls until somebody tears the brick wall down and gives you more information. And then they're wonderful because when you finish it up, and you've delivered the goods, you look like a hero. And I received 2 emails from other people on the team that were so grateful for the work that I had done. They really appreciated what I had done. And that was amazing because they'll remember me. People don't do that unless they're really happy and satisfied. And they'll remember you for down the road. So I haven't had any other projects with them since. It's not because, well, I did. I had one project. It was very small. But they remember me the next time they have a big project like this. And it's a pretty cool feather to have in my cap. And it was a great invoice, I got to tell you. So the other thing is if you complain to the client and you're going to send a hefty invoice, You might want to think twice about that. People want to sign an approval on the dotted line for a substantial bill more readily if everything went smoothly, or if they don't know, or if you haven't complained about anything, than they do if you do complain, or if you make the process even harder. Does that make sense? I think so. So good. So hey, that's it for today. So for the Breakthrough Creative, I am John McDavitt, and we have talked about the business of art and the art of business. Man, have we ever. So next time you're in a big project and you're in the thick of it, just try and remember some of the things I shared with you today, okay? And I think that they will serve you very, very well. So until next time, get work creating things and find out a way to make some income from the things that you do make. Cheers.